Remains of Breasia Terrell were found 9 months after she was reported missing. Investigators focused on the defendant, Henry Dinkins, within 24 hours of her disappearance, and now he is standing trial for her murder. Day 5 of the Sleepover Kidnapping murder trial set to begin at 10 a.m. Eastern. Dinkins is charged with first-degree murder and kidnapping after the 10-year-old disappeared while spending the night with her younger brother at the defendant's home. Dinkins has chosen a bench trial, meaning a judge, not a jury, will determine his fate. On Tuesday, the grandmother of Breasia took the stand. While on cross, Donita Gardner described the defendant's relationship with Breasia prior to her going missing.
You had met Mr. Dinkins before July 9th of 2020, correct?
Yeah.
And Breasia and DL had spent time with him prior to July 9th, 2020, correct?
You talking about before or during?
Before July 9th of 2020.
Yeah, a couple of times.
And Breasia was never uncomfortable spending time with Henry, correct?
No.
Same question, but with DL?
No.
Was CS ever uncomfortable spending time with Henry? Mr. Dinkins?
No.
Okay. In fact, she as in Breasia viewed Mr. Dinkins as a father figure, right?
Yeah.
You never saw Mr. Dinkins be mean or inappropriate with Breasia, did you?
No.
How about DL?
No.
Did he seem more constructive?
Wait a minute.
Was he a constructive father?
No, I take that back with DL. 'Cause one time he got in trouble, and Henry didn't whoop him. He made him jog. Made him run.
You made him work out?
Yeah.
Okay. Did he make him do anything other than running?
Just the running.
Okay. Did he make him work out in any other way?
No.
Okay. Did he ever do that same thing but with Breasia?
No.
Okay. How about CS?
No.
I think a little bit in your testimony you had mentioned that, in your opinion, if Bree would be outside, she would be uncomfortable, right?
That night?
At any point in time, she would be uncomfortable if she was outside alone.
This only at night. During the day, she was all right.
And she would have come and knocked on a door, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was typical of her?
Yeah.
You've had plenty of opportunity to speak with Aisha and DL about this case, correct?
I could have, but I didn't.
Okay. Have you ever heard DL mention to you anything about a bloody knife?
I don't question my grandkids about anything.
Okay. Has he ever mentioned to you anything about bleach or cleaning off a knife with bleach?
I don't question my grandkids about nothing.
Has he ever mentioned to you anything about being present when Breasia was shot?
Again, I wait until they come to me. And he never did.
That's Grandma on the stand. Let's bring back Marie Pereira. She's a criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor in New York. And Marie, this case is so heartbreaking, and you wonder what happened. I mean, we don't know the motivation here. And you hear Grandma saying that Breasia looked at him as a father figure. He was around-ish. She earlier testified that, in her opinion, he came around when he wanted to. When you look at this case, it's just so heartbreaking. It was a last-minute sleepover, and this little 10-year-old ends up dead. He says no to a jury. I want to go with the judge. First of all, was that a good decision for the defense to just do a bench trial here and eliminate the 12 jurors?
Yes, I think it was, because there's a lot of emotion here. Even the police chief, as he spoke about it, broke down in tears. And even me, as a grandmother, I'm listening to it. I'm angry. So there would be a lot of emotions with the jurors as opposed to the judge who's going by the letter of the law. And that may help him, because at the end of the day, the jurors definitely will look at this little girl who was in his care and what he did to her. It wouldn't work well. I think picking a judge was strategically the right thing for him.
Now, the problem with the judge is that he obviously knows that he's got a past sex offender issue where a jury likely wouldn't know that. So I guess that it might balance itself off. Bottom line is, this guy, you just look at him, and again, you can't judge a book by its cover, but when you factor in his past as a sex offender, and he was suspect number one. I'm not sure where the defense is going here. You know, you listen to the cross of these witnesses, and I'm not seeing the ball move much. Your thoughts? Is there any opening where you would think that the judge at the end of the day is going to come back and say not guilty at this point?
I think we have to wait until, you know, the fat lady sings and we have closing statements and all the evidence is presented before we can say anything. But my main concern is, why was this child even with him when he already had the sex offender conviction, to my understanding? So why was he left unsupervised with children? And you can, you know, I feel a lot of empathy for the grandmother, and not to throw her under the bus, but she's sitting here saying, I don't ask my grandchildren about nothing. I wait for them to come to me. Well, yeah, you need to ask your grandchildren about everything, especially when the grandchildren are exposed to sex offenders. What happened when you went over there? Does he ever do this to you? If you're going to let your kids be around people who are already suspect, then you need to ask questions all the time of your grandkids, period. Especially when they're so little and impressionable like that and vulnerable. Yes, askquestions.com. That's what I do. I ask my grandson everything about everyone when I expose him to anyone, even unknown people, people who don't have a history of abusing children. I say, how was your day? What happened? How was the play date? You have to ask, because we're responsible for protecting these children. Why was this child even over there in the first place?
Yeah, it was a last-minute thing, according to the grandmother and other testimony, where she wanted to go along with her brother, who is being referred to as DL for the purposes of the court. And he testified, DL did, about what he saw, what he heard. And let's take a listen to some of his cross-examination. He was only, I believe, 8 years old at the time, but let's listen in. You don't see him, but you can hear his voice.
So you were there?
Yes.
You saw your dad shoot Breasia Terrell?
Yes.
Okay. And how come you didn't say that when the prosecutor asked you? Because it's not the truth, right?
Everything I say is true.
You just conveniently left out the fact that you saw your sister get shot when the prosecutor was asking you?
I didn't leave it out. I didn't speak about it. I hate speaking about it.
Did you and the prosecutor talk about this ahead of time?
In private, yeah.
And you just told her not to ask you about it because you don't like to speak about it?
I didn't tell her not to.
Okay. Well, your testimony today is you saw Henry Dinkins shoot your sister.
Yes.
What kind of gun did he use?
I don't know.
How close were you to the incident?
A couple feet.
Okay, was it a pistol or a long gun?
How am I supposed to know what it is?
You were a couple feet away. That's how
I
you're
may be
supposed
solid,
to
but
answer.
I don't know what it is.
Okay, what color was the gun?
Silver.
Marie, it's heartbreaking to, you know, this kid. I'm not sure, you know, to what extent he's telling the truth at this point. He's trying to help the conviction. He obviously thinks his dad killed Breasia, but this is the first time that anybody heard him apparently say that he actually saw him shoot the gun and kill her. That in front of a jury could be a problem, right, for the state, because if you don't believe, you know, then now you're starting to create some just uneasy feelings. A judge is going to be able to parcel that out, right? Correct? The judge will be able to take everything appropriately with the knowledge that he has of the discovery of the case and all of the pretrial motions. So from that standpoint, having a bench trial is good for the state almost. when you're evaluating DL's testimony.
Absolutely, because even me listening to that testimony for the first time, I got all choked up. This child who's testifying was about 8 years old when this happened. My grandson is 8. He still can't tell left shoe from right shoe. He'd be embarrassed if he knew I said that, but they're little children at 8. So imagine he witnessed that, and then the defense attorney is grilling him saying, you're lying because you didn't say it then, and he's trying to explain his emotions. I hope this child is getting therapy because he needs it. But yes, strategically, that was a good thing, because if a juror even heard that, it would work against the alleged killer.